Good evening, folks. Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics. Do things change quickly? Let's refresh that. So when I first posted, and I hope you can hear me, the results, Anthony Moranti was in the lead, but that changed quickly. And so now we have Mike Spano at 57%, although Anthony Moranti's coming up 42% of the votes. So it's still not over, right? There's a lot of absentee ballots that will also have to be factored in. And that's where a lot of people get concerned. Nick Speranza, all right, my guy, 32%, tied with Beltran. Oh, Shatika Parker, 14% to Deanna Robinson's 44%. I mean, I don't know. Tasha Diaz, 34% to Hector Santi. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm lying. 63% to 37%. Oh, man. Mike Breen, he's got 80% of the votes. He's got 100% of the votes. Do you think it'll be a landslide for Mike Breen? What about David Tubiolo? Right? I asked the question, is it going to be a landslide for him? But yeah, there you go. But again, a lot of concerns with the absentee ballots. That's a way that people are able to cheat, right? The elections. I was actually taught all about it from an individual who was running for office at one point, a Democrat. They go up there, they get a bunch of blank ballots and stuff, and who knows what they do with them, right? It's called ballot harvesting, and so many people are concerned actually in the primary with Ron Schutte and Mike Breen that those 13 votes that Mike Breen won by, or 12 votes, or whatever it was a very small margin. These are numbers that can easily be manipulated, right? So people are concerned that are these absentee ballots legit? How are they gathering these absentee ballots? I always said that food distribution line that they do. I mean, it's disguised as some charity work that they're doing for residents, those who have food insecurities, right? But it's not always the case. We see people going there just to get food. Sometimes the officials are taking the food. But the point of those food distribution drives, folks, is to gather information on people who will register to vote, who are able to vote, but will most likely not vote, right? They're indifferent. They don't care. They just want to go up there and get some food, right? And so they get their information, their names, their addresses, and many times they'll register them to vote. They'll get their ballot, right? And then they'll bring it to them with probably a bag of food and say, here, sign this, all right? So that's something that should concern all of us. And, I always said those food distributions should be free of any politicians. There should be no Tasha Diaz. It should be strictly, Feeding Westchester or whatever other organization is involved in it. It should be left to the charity or nonprofits. But again, those things are exploited. And so a lot of the people that go there, have no care for politics. They're very indifferent. They don't know at times when elections are coming up. I mean, I was at the event that they did at the Castle Royale that was supposed to be for seniors, but there was people of all ages there, and they were giving away food and a free TV if you signed up to get a free raffle, right? The raffle ticket itself was free, but what you had to do was sign your name and provide some information. And so that's what they need. That's all they want. They don't want your money. They made plenty of money. And this is really important when it comes to petition signature, gathering. A lot of times, those are the people that are usually hit first. So they have this list of people that, as I call the food distribution voter block, that they will hit up right away. Right away. The first day, they go out and they hit up all these folks from these, food distributions, and they'll get their signatures. Again, they don't care They're just signing. Many times they're told that if they want to keep the food coming, that they have to sign this. Make sure we keep, so and so in office. Otherwise, there's no more free food. No more food for you beggars. So make sure you vote. And sign petitions for Tasha Diaz or this other candidate that are all pretty much managed by the same individuals. So, it's concerning. I've had my concerns about the Westchester County Board of Elections and some of the people that work there for a while now. Their connections to political figures, elected officials, such as Tom Meyer Jr., whose dad is the head of the Democratic Committee here in Yonkers. Right, his dad is head of the Democratic Party in Yonkers. The son works up at the Board of Elections. One of his jobs was to hire and train poll workers. So who are these poll workers, right? Who are the ones setting up the poll stations and advising, the poll workers on what to do and assigning different poll workers where, right? And so I just found that to be very interesting. I mean, if I was going to run, some election scam, I would definitely want someone on the inside, wouldn't you? Right. And so they do. They have individuals. David Tubiolo's mom works there. There's the commissioner of the Board of Elections, from my understanding, is pretty close with Zahi Jeris. This is from his own mouth. And I once spoke with the man, actually on several occasions, and he called her his girl. The head of the Board of Elections is his girl, a man that pled guilty to election fraud. And he told me to go see my girl. And so that's concerning, right? This is a man that manages the campaigns of Tasha Diaz, Shanae Williams, Deanna Robinson, is involved in the city council president's campaign. I'm sure he has some things to do with John Rubo. And so it's concerning. It's very concerning that this one individual has essentially a monopoly on our city council. And therefore, they're not going to represent the people. They're going to represent their manager or their handler, as I call him. And he's going to, tell them to do certain things. And that's what they are to do if they want to maintain their political career, if they want to get reelected in the coming election. They know that comes with things. And for many of them, it's something that they've never had. It's a great improvement to their lives. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? Worry about yourself, right? Worry about yourself, right? Well, that's the attitude that they take. And so that's why we see, them doing things, voting on things that the people are opposing strongly, yet they move forward with it as if we didn't exist, right? As if we didn't speak out about it. As if we didn't, hey, we're here. We don't want it, right? No, vote no. Or we do want it. We do want it, right? And we don't get it. So, that's concerning because those individuals are essentially controlled by, one man or one group of individuals. And, the guy's son that's managing Tasha Diaz, they were trying to award him a contract, a city contract, a no bid contract. So that's concerning, and so, we just always have to consider this in all elections, the potential for election fraud. Who are the individuals that are involved, the people that are working up at the Board of Elections? I think that place needs to be investigated. I'm just saying they need to switch it up. We need to get some new people in there. It's just very concerning, right? And let's see what the latest results are. Mayor Spano at 61%, Moranti down to 36% of the votes. It's a tough race. Most people were not going to run. They were not going to run if Mike Spano was in the race. So, the fact that Anthony Moranti decided to challenge Mayor Mike Spano, the incumbent, who's built a strong, political machine here. The Spanos have built a strong political machine in the past 12 years, and actually going even further back. I mean, from, the inception of the Spano family in politics, right? Goes back to the father, Leonard Spano, who was a Westchester County clerk. And you have, now the head of the Spano family, Nick Spano, former Senator Nick Spano, who is also a realtor as well as a lobbyist, and he's very involved in politics. He's very connected to developers. He has a lot of relationships with them, very close to the governor up in Albany, and a lot of other people up in Albany, right? So it's a tough political machine to oppose. And so we have to give Anthony Moranti credit. I'm not saying he hasn't won, but, people know just how difficult this is for anyone. And like I said, many people opted not to run for mayor because Spano was going to go at it again. And for one reason or another, they just knew that it wasn't going to be a good idea. Moranti, for the most part, is self-funding, right? He doesn't have the developers or the other special interests that are looking to do business or have been doing business in the city of Yonkers funding his campaign. He's essentially paying from his own pocket. And so I got to commend him for doing the job that he's done with the resources that he has. He's put up a lot of money. But again, the Spano machine is a tough machine, something that I've come to learn very well in the past 2 years, following Yonkers politics. And so, this is something people knew, if Moranti is to win, it's definitely going to be a hard fought win, and it's not going to be a landslide win. Right. It would be down to, the individual votes. So, I wish both the best of luck. I try to be unbiased here. I don't let my emotions, try to, intervene in what I say. Wish both the luck, but I understand that a lot of people are seeking change, but there are a lot of people also that want the same, right? They are benefiting from the same. They are prospering from the same, and they don't see a need for change, and that's how they want to move forward. But that's not the case for the majority. It's not the case for the majority of the people in the city of Yonkers. However, you have to come out and vote, and the majority oftentimes does not come out to vote. And so if the majority who wants change does not come out to vote, you will not get change, right? And so we're hoping that we see some higher number voter turnouts at this election, but it was very disappointing during the primaries, right? 60,000, I believe, registered Democrats, and we have 9,000 come out in the primaries, and so people have to come out and vote. Elections are easy to steal, to cheat, manipulate when very few people come out. And so we have to come out to vote. And at the end of the day, whatever the result is, I feel that the people of the city of Yonkers have won, in a way. And, we have made progress. And in the fact that more and more people are paying attention, more and more people are willing to hold our elected officials accountable and are realizing that we must hold our elected officials accountable. We must be involved and understand what's going on. If not, we are going to see what's been happening for so long now, right? And so more and more people are speaking out, more and more people are following along now, and speaking out, talking about it. We have the Yonkers Ledger, who I want to shout out, who's done a great job in the short time that they've been operating, and putting out investigative articles, and informing the people, right? So more and more people are coming out. So that's a win. I think that's a plus. That's, something that's big, because in a city where so many have been afraid to literally speak out because of, retaliation or harassment, threats, or bullying, this is very real. This is a very real thing that happens here in Yonkers, and in Westchester, I'm sure, but definitely in Yonkers. And so it has left a lot of people afraid to speak out, to involve themselves in politics, to go out and vote, to bother. Just want to stay quiet in my lane and not, ruffle any feathers. But, in doing that, they're starting to see the impact that it's having, and it's not a good one, right? And so we have to come out, we have to be vocal. And so shout out to the people that have been doing that more and more, and to those that support basement politics, and others who are out there advocating for the people, looking for change. So, that's a win. That's a plus. That's a win for the people. And I hope that more young people are getting involved. I hope that I've managed to do something with basement politics and reaching out to young people as well, and people of, of all races, right? Of all colors, and getting them more involved. It's very important to get the young people involved. And so let's refresh, see where it's at. 61%, 36% is still there. Has not changed, I guess. But, it's going to be a while before we get the official results. Hector Santiago, the status quo has to go. And I get that a lot. And, and people come up to me all the time, man, in the streets. People will come up and say, hey, I like what you're doing. I love it. I love the show. Keep it up. We need change. It's about time someone is, talking about what's going on in the city. For far too long, we have been, not informed or misinformed by, whatever outlets are out there putting out information, or distracted, with car crashes, overdoses, right? We understand that's a problem. We have a drug problem. We have, gun violence problem, and we seem to have a problem with car accidents also. I'm not sure what the deal is. Maybe it's the, amount of traffic we see now in the streets. Maybe it's the, ripples in the streets that, make your car fly into the air, from time to time. I'm not sure what it is, but we have a motor vehicle accident problem here in the city of Yonkers, right? And so, people are fed up with this stuff. People are tired of it. People are tired of seeing these tall buildings going up in front of their homes, literally disrupting their lives. Some businesses have been disrupted, and people just don't want to see it. They don't want this kind of change. And, they feel like a lot of things that were promised have not come to fruition, right? Like jobs. Where are the jobs? The jobs that were supposed to come with Lionsgate and all the development that has been going up. People who are noticing are seeing these contractors coming from out of state, right? Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Connecticut, and they're not hiring local. They're not hiring union. It's all non-union work that's going on. So that's upset people. And the movie studios, how many people from Yonkers have been employed by the movie studios? Granted, they've been on a strike, but I mean, there's got to be some kind of work that they, can produce for the people, right? And we look at the when they sell these projects to us, you have to pay attention to the wording and the numbers, and so they'll say it's going to bring 1,200, 1,500 jobs, but most of those jobs are temporary construction jobs. You have to also look at how many jobs are retained by these projects, right? And oftentimes you'll see 2, 3 jobs that are actually retained by these projects. And so, is that really benefiting the people of the city of Yonkers? People don't need temporary work if they're even getting that. They need permanent work, and they need work that can pay them an income that will sustain them in the city that's continuing to get more and more expensive to live in, right? It doesn't matter where you at now, what side of Yonkers you at, it's going to cost you a lot of money to live there. People in Elm Street have complained to me. Nodine Hill section have complained to me about the rising costs or the rising rents. New investors coming into Yonkers, buying up the property, renovating them and expecting them to pay more, right? Or, getting rid of the tenants somehow, for those that have rent control buildings, right? They buy the properties. They can get out of the rent control, but they have to renovate 80% of the property. Well, how do they do that when you have tenants? Well, you find ways to get them out, right? You condemn the building, you use the building apartment, you pay them off to leave, right? Like one guy was offered literally $30,000 to leave his apartment up on Spruce because they want the tenants out. They renovate the properties. Now they are out of the rent control thing, and then they can rent them out for market rate. And so they're going to continue to do that throughout the city of Yonkers. And you're going to see many people leaving Yonkers as a result. It's getting more and more expensive, and there are few affordable housing, right? They're not building as many as they need. There's a housing crisis, but that also has fallen short in all reality. If you look at the actual total numbers, it's not really more, right? It's not more, especially when you're reducing the amount as well, right? When they're knocking down Mulford Gardens, right? And most of it has not been brought back. Cottage Park, same thing, right? So they're actually reducing it. A lot of the affordable housing are also senior affordable housing, right? Which there is a need for that as well, but that's included in the number of affordable housing they say they're bringing to the city of Yonkers. So, that's limiting the amount of actually people who can apply for those, right? So we have to pay attention. We have to see what's really happening. And that's not to say that, 60% to 38%. So it's going to be a tough one. Again, Mike Spano has a machine, that's well oiled, that has a lot of resources. He has, people in places. His chessboard is strategically, set up, with his pieces, right? He's got the pawns, all the minions, the pawns out there in the street doing the work. By the way, I got to say, there was some things that I lost. Where's my pad at? Oh. A la neighbor, right? Yo, Allah, Are you a Republican or are you a Democrat? Why don't you just become a Democrat? A la neighbor. And I know I talk about this guy a lot. I don't mean to, to pick on you, Allah. I'm not even trying to, but people quote me with information. I just think it's interesting. And I got you on the video. I thought that was you. I posted a video of individuals setting up at the Castle Royale. Now, if you don't know, the Castle Royale is the Yonkers Democratic Party headquarters. Everything goes down there, the meetings, the election parties and all that stuff, right? And they do all their poll watching and strategizing there. You'll have a secret room where, Mr. Zahi Jerris is chilling in with other individuals who are, privy to that private information, and he was there helping out set up for their, victory party because, they believe they're going to win. And so I just was confused because a la neighbor was recently named the sergeant at arms of the Republican Party. Right. But he's helping out the Democrats set up for their party. Right. A la neighbor has also thrown fundraisers for the mayor, who's a Democrat. Right. So why did you guys name him the sergeant at arms? You Republicans over there, what's going on with you guys? You guys got to get it together. One of the complaints, of coming out of the Republican Party was no support, the lack of support that some Republicans got from the party, right? Like Anthony Moranti. I mean, how much support did he really get from the Republican? I mean, look at how the Democratic Party goes all out for, the Democrats, right? Mike Spano, the incumbents, Tasha. Look at how they go all out, right? They got everybody, they even get city workers involved somehow. Man, they do a great job of really motivating a lot of city workers. I mean, even Carlos Moran, the head of human resource, right? He was out there door knocking on behalf of Mayor Mike Spano. I mean, these guys are just so highly motivated because they love it, right? They love their boss. And so, but yeah, he's, supposed to be a sergeant at arms. He's out there helping just become a Democrat. I mean, why you guys allow this guy? I was in a motorcycle club, right? And, the sergeant at arms plays an important role, in the organization, you know what I'm saying? So we had a sergeant at arms too. No way would we allow a sergeant at arms that was playing on the other team. That doesn't make sense. Frank Jerris and Tony Margie were over at Wyatt May, Yonkers, Montessori, which is cool. Nothing's wrong with that. I don't want the comments from the fake pages saying what's wrong with that. They could go out there. Absolutely. I'm just reporting on it, man. That's all. It's good to know Frank Jerris. Tony Margie, he's a big supporter, right? He supported in 2021. That resulted in the job with DPW. I mean, look, you worked hard for it. You were very intimidating. You did a great job at the door, right? Some people were scared to actually walk in, but he's out there. I think he got into something with Carolyn Soleri. I didn't hear about, I heard about it from other people. I didn't get the details. She specifically did not tell me, so I don't know. This is just what I'm being told. Tony, what happened over there with Carolyn? It's interesting. We all know each other, right? At this point, right? We know each other. It's almost like, why don't we all go to, Castle Royale and sit at a big round table and like make some kind of peace and do something good for this city, right? Together. Why do we have to be enemies, right? I guess it's going to always be that way, I guess. And I'm hearing, although I'm seeing 100% I don't see any Ron Schutte anywhere, but maybe they don't count the write-ins. But I'm hearing that a lot of ballots were being turned in with Ron or Ronald. Make sure you get the name right. Ronald Schutte's name. Ron Schutte ran against Mike Breen in the primary for District 5, losing by 12, 13 votes, very close. So a lot of people are opting to vote for him by writing his name in. And so, we'll see how that's going to go. Again, I don't know if they count that early on. Maybe they put that later on, but I don't see his name there. Actually, it's just Mike Breen all by himself. But that's what I was hearing. Again, this is just from what I'm being told from the streets out there in the polls, But yeah, so, shout out to Allah Neighbor, though, for managing to be in both parties. I call them the Republicrats, right? We know that the city of Yonkers, the Republican Party, is really commingled with the Democratic Party, right? They're heavily involved with each other. David Tubiolo's dad was once the chair. David is a Democrat, but he was a Republican. You got a lot of turncoats. You got John Rubo. He used to be a Republican, then he became a Democrat. They have true Republican beliefs, right? The Donald Trump ones, right? Not just kidding, right? But they're truly Republicans. They're very conservative individuals, right? They should truly be Republicans, but they understand that the numbers, are not in the Republican Party's favor. So they have to be Democrats. It's not, about really helping people and, wanting to be in politics to do the right thing. It's about winning. It's about, all the spoils and riches that come with being in politics, right? Getting away with so much, and getting taxpayer money in your pocket. But yeah, so they all turn Democrat. John Rubo, I hear, was convinced by the city clerk, the mayor's brother. And then I hear John Rubel convince David Tubiolo to then become a Democrat. But however, David Tubiolo's dad at the time was still the chair of the Republican Party. And so how can you really run the party fairly and your son is on the opposing team? I mean, so he had to step down, but he's still very influential. Right. And so, I mean, and other people aren't really, I mean, I hear that the head of the wife of the head of the Republican Party, am I getting this right? Correct me if I'm wrong, was calling people and telling them to vote for Mike Spano. Why would his wife do that? What team she on? See, I couldn't be married to a woman like that. Hold up. Yeah, unless he knew. So why is he the head of the Republican Party? You know what I'm saying? And I could be, I don't know if it was the head, Bob Moffett, was it Bob Moffett? The name is Moffett, and what's up with the a la neighbor thing, Moffett? How do you allow it? I heard Joe Daley was upset about that. So what happened with housing and the roads getting fixed all the way, not just partial? I don't know what happened with that, but them roads are horrible. Sawmill, when you drive on Sawmill from Lockwood and Palmer, I should say Palmer to Ashburn is horrible. And that was done by Con Edison. If you don't know, they dug up the roads. They were, installing some fiber optic stuff or gas line. I don't know what they were doing, but they just never put them back smoothly. And so, I mean, they've been like that for months and months and months. And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about, right? As an elected official, right? I'm sure that many of you have driven down that part of Sawmill at this point. I'm referring to elected officials, right? And not one of you have thought, we should get this fixed. I mean, I can't imagine how many people's cars have been damaged driving in that part of the road of Sawmill. And nothing, that's just, to me, if I was an official, I would say, hey, we got to get this fixed. This can't just leave this like this. I mean, Con Edison, you got to come do this, man. You got to pay for it or somebody, because that's not fair to the people that have to drive through that every day, right? They have to go through that, and that is damaging to your cars, your ball joints or whatever, your shocks and all that. It's horrible. And I've gotten 2 flat tires, within the past year or so, or in potholes. And I have run flats, so it's $400 a tire. And so, the people of the city of Yonkers suffer, ultimately, when they just don't pay attention to these things. Their concern is winning, right? Going to, these events, these fun events, for the community, make them feel good, right? It's the old, Rome thing, right? You keep them busy with the circus and games and all that, and they won't pay attention to what's really going on, right? Let's get bouncy houses for them. Let's give them bags of food. They'll be entertained and fed, and they won't care, and we could do as we please, right? So we have to pay attention. Listen, it shouldn't be to where you need free food, right? If our city is being managed correctly, our country, for that matter, is being managed correctly, right? We should all be having ability to find a job where we could support and sustain ourselves, where we wouldn't need handout. So if you're simply just perpetuating the need for dependency, then you're not doing your job. You got to get people up out of poverty, right? John Rubel talks about the pathway to home ownership. Well, that's getting more and more difficult here in Yonkers. You got houses going up to $1 million in areas that you really wouldn't want to be paid $1 million to live in. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So the fact that they're constantly giving you free shit, excuse my language, that's after a while you got to say, wait a minute, why do we need this? And more people are starting to need lining up, right? And I get it, we had pandemics, we had this and that, but if they did a good job of managing, bringing in the jobs that were promised, right, and not bringing in luxury apartments that the average person in Yonkers can't afford. If you just do the numbers, average person in Yonkers makes $34,000, $35,000 a year. This is the mayor, according to the mayor. The luxury apartments, you have to average $150,000 a year get approved for that, right? Qualify for these apartments. Unless you're fortunate enough to be one of the very few that can secure an affordable housing unit, one that was set aside, which is very few. But otherwise, you'd have to make 150,000 a year just to qualify for the apartment. So, what are we doing? I mean, are you looking out for the people here, or who are you looking out for? I mean, we're not making that money. You know what I'm saying? How do we afford this? I don't get it, right? And so, and you also, and let's not just talk about renters. Let's talk about homeowners. There's homeowners all over. We always say the east side, but the reality is there's homeowners on the west side as well. Northwest side. But the homeowners who pay taxes, whose taxes have gone up, right, year after year, the taxes do go up. These developments, the studios were supposed to reduce taxes, or at least keep taxes, sustained at a stagnant, I should say, not going up, maybe not going down, but not going up, right? But that's impossible when you have a lot of these developers coming in here and demanding tax incentives, tax breaks. And so when they're getting the tax breaks, not having to pay their full tax obligation, that's tens of millions of dollars that the city of Yonkers is not receiving from these developments. But they are utilizing all of the resources, if not more, taxing our resources, the infrastructure, a lot more, but they're not paying their fair share by lots. That has to be subsidized. Who subsidizes it? It's the homeowners, right? Your taxes go up. But anyone who lives in Yonkers and also pays the Yonkers tax, right? If you live in the city, you have a 3% tax. So it's the people that pay taxes that suffer, right? They're not getting jobs. They're not, improving the economy for the businesses that were here many times, right? You have a lot of small businesses closing. Sure, you have certain new businesses coming, opening up, but who are these folks that are opening up these businesses? Are these people from Yonkers? Are these people from Spain? As in recently, the Media Pro crew was in Yonkers overlooking the site where their new movie studios are going to be, part of the 22 movie studios that are going to be located in the city of Yonkers. Did you guys check that out? The guy spoke in Spanish, but he's from Spain, so I was having a little trouble. 61%, 37% still. Here we go. Great Point Studios breaks ground on a $100 million studio campus in Yonkers. Great Points, the owner of Lionsgate Studio in Yonkers, broke ground on Monday on its new $100 million studio campus, the number one place in the United States to make film and television. That's Yonkers now, said Robert Halmi, CEO and founder of Great Point Studios. Now, Great Point Studios, for folks who don't know, you know what? Thank you. I appreciate that. And just stay tuned. But, we'll get to that point one day. Great Point Studios, if you don't know, are the individuals that build the studios, right? So you have three parties involved. You have Joe Cotter and Lynn Ward. They're National Home Resources Housing or something, National Housing Resources. They have that company. It's a nonprofit. They also have another for-profit company. So it's two. And they are the ones that own the land. Then you have Great Point Studios. They come in and they build the movie studio. And then you have the third party, which is either Lionsgate or now Media Pro, all the way from Spain, which lease those studios, right? So Joe Cotter's getting his rent for the studio being on there and on his land. Great Point Studios getting money for leasing their studios to these media companies. The media companies make the money selling their media, right? So that's what's going on here. A lot of people making money, but the people of Yonkers, right? Even people all the way in Spain coming and making money in Yonkers, but not the people of Yonkers, right? So that's what's going on there. This is over at the old Leek and Watts campus, I believe. Joe Cotter bought this property from Leek and Watts for, I believe, $55 million, although some people have told me $90 million, for the property. Closing down the Leek and Watts property, forcing people to have to find new jobs. Same thing happened with the bus company over on Fernbrook. They wanted to make a park there, so we knocked that down, screwed the 100 people that needed a job, Same thing with the meat market, so on and so forth. We got a daycare center that has been forced closed as a result of development. So screw those families and those kids, right? That's what it's all about. But they buy this, Joe Cotter buys this property, Leakin Watts, without having the zoning approvals to build studios there. So who invests $55 million without having the zoning approvals to do what you want to do there? Unless, of course, you know that you're going to get the approvals. And that's been the whole issue with the zoning board and the individuals who have been voted on there and appointed to be on there, right? What are they doing? Who are they looking out for? Right, that's the problem. So now they're going to put 22 movie studios, 20 to 22 movie studios in the city of Yonkers. That's right, 20 to 22. Then just think about that. Think about that. You live in Yonkers. Think about that. What is it going to look like with 20 to 22 movie studios in Yonkers? And we're not even talking about, the casino that they're going to build, right? The Hard Rock, I think they want to do. We're not even talking about that, but think about that. Think about the traffic, the congestion. Who are the individuals that are going to be coming into the city of Yonkers? I mean, the movie industry is a very lucrative business. So you're going to have a lot of wealthy people taking over the city of Yonkers. All right. Great Point Studios opened its $500 million studios back in January 2022 to satisfy an overwhelming demand for studio space in New York City. Just 11 miles north of the city, Yonkers is billed as a great solution. It's a great solution for the movie studios, but where's the solution for the people of the city of Yonkers who have been in need of so much for so long? Where's the solution for the schools that have been dilapidated for decades now? Your child may be going to school in a building that's over 100 years old. What kind of health hazards are they presenting? And I'm not trying to scare you. It's very real, right? But they're bringing in all the movie studios. With the new addition of Media Pro Campus, it will be put our total studio presence in Yonkers over 1 million square feet of studios and production facilities. The 20,000 square foot studio, which is expected to open next fall, will employ 400 people. But where will they come from? Where will they come from? Will that be 400 people from the city of Yonkers? Right? I can't believe no one ran against Mike Breen. Patty would have had a heart attack. She would have had a fit if someone ran against Mike Breen. You know how Patty gets. Business and CUI, City of Yonkers as usual. I worked the polls for many years and none of this is new. Yeah, I'm glad you are saying that. After tonight's results, the people that are being screwed over deserve it. Uninformed voters voting across the line is why we keep getting the same results. You're right. And I was looking at this ballot, and why do they do it that way, right? They just whoever is in charge of creating the polls or coming up with how the ballot and all this should be, they really work ways to make this easy to cheat, right? And why would they have it all the way across? Most people are just gonna, right? They're going to do that, right? We should at least separate them so people can have time to think and read and just don't go all the way across, right? Okay, let me go to the next race, right? Okay, so, but and then you see Jose Alvarado, right, taking a or having someone take a picture of him while he's voting, and he's pretty much indicating for everyone, vote all the way across. Vote all the way across, right? And so, and this absentee ballot thing, the mail-in ballots, that's, to me, all designed to allow for easy manipulation of the elections, for election fraud, and it just opens it up for for it to be compromised. I've done other things. I've taken tests, to get into college that have been harder to manipulate. Right? It has to be you. They make sure that it's you. They want all kinds of piece of information before you can get into that test, or even take it online. So why isn't it the same with voting? Why is it that we can't vote online with an ID, right? We have a PIN that's given to us, right? Like sometimes if you file taxes and, you may need a PIN to verify it's you, and you have to get a new PIN every year in order to have your taxes filed to protect you from fraud. So why don't we have something like that for voting, right? A PIN. Maybe you can call in, type your PIN in. It's used once, that's it. I mean, I guess that can be stolen, right? Maybe your PIN. People start, hey, I'll buy your PIN off you. It's just, what do we do? But people definitely have to come out, and hopefully the voter turnout won't be low. So again, they're putting a lot of movie studios. That campus over there, Leakin Watts, they are talking about a new Yonkers public school that's going to be built there. But who's going to build it? Is it going to be the movie studios? Is it going to be Joe Cotter? Is it Great Points? Is it Media Pro? Right? Who's going to build this new Yonkers public school that they have been talking about? That's going to be the new film school, the new film school for our Yonkers public schools. They could be in the film industry. We're having trouble getting the one on McLean built. There's a lot of problems there. It was set to open this school year, actually, and now it's moving to the. This is why my wife is on the chopping block. I'm sorry, guys. They don't want me talking about this stuff. Poor wife. I love you, baby. You be all right. Don't worry. But this is important. I mean, the contractor who's working on that school is delaying the project. They are now suing and saying they're owed another $7.6 million. But then you got, people who work for the contracting company related to officials here in the city of Yonkers. So why did they get this contract? What's going on there? Is this just a shakedown? This thing went from, 80 million and now going up to 100 million to build. I mean, and it's still not, ready yet, and it's in such an awkward place. There's no outside area for the kids. None of the teachers and staff members are going to have parking. That's right. Staff members, if you are going to be working at the new Soto de Mayo, whatever school, you're going to have to find parking on the street. Maybe they'll do like the city, right? Where they'll force a whole section of a sidewalk to be cleared during school hours for the teachers to park, and then you'll get a plaque. How you like that? We truly are becoming the sixth borough, right? We spoke it into existence, right? We're the sixth borough. Yeah, we are now. We're Bronkers. I call us Bronkers. So that's going to impact, if that is the solution, people who live in the area who park on the street. Now I can't park there because the school's here. The teachers need to park because they didn't build them a parking lot. So, I mean, great idea. I guess we needed the school. We actually need a total of 3 new schools, according to a report that was done on our school, the conditions of our schools and stuff. And I'm going to be going over some of that stuff. I have gotten some hold of some reports about maybe 10 years old now, from 2010, I believe, to 13 years old. But they talk about the conditions of the schools, and it just shows how much, was known already about the schools and where we at now, 13 years later, and nothing, on this has truly been addressed. Now we're getting a new school, but we knew it was known that there was a need for these schools. It was known that these schools need to be knocked down and rebuilt. They're very old. They present dangers to kids. The staff members. You develop asthma since you've been working at the YPS. I'm just saying, maybe you need to check that out, right? And so this is something that they knew and nobody did nothing about. And building a new school is great. We need it. The schools are overcrowded. We also have new migrant children that have entered the public schools. So there's definitely a need for more space. The schools are overcrowded by over 4,000 students. So there's a need for 3 more schools. This new school that's being built, I believe, is going to house 600 students, if I'm not mistaken. And that helps, but there's still a need. So, they're talking about this campus over here, the old Leakin Watts, the film studio campus with Media Pro, and that there's going to be a new school there. I'm not sure if that's the second one that's going to be built out of the 3 that are needed, but they definitely are in need of these schools, right? So hopefully we get the McLean one. Hopefully we get this one at the studio, but who's going to build it? Is it a Yonkers public school that's being built by the city? Or is it a school that's being built by the movie studios and they're going to allow, a certain amount of students to go there for a certain time? Is there even going to be a school with the Yonkers Public School, high school there? Is it just, just something we're being told, like all the jobs that we were supposed to see, right? I don't know, so only time will tell, right? I wish it was straightforward as that. Unfortunately, many people choose not to vote feeling disenfranchised. You're right. Mainly because of their perception of Spano as a dictator and Moranti as a Republican. These uninformed and uneducated voters failed to consider the importance of restoring term limits. Their focus was solely on the Republican-Democrat divide. As you've mentioned several times, you show the city of Yonkers does doesn't neatly fit into the Democrat or Republican mode as it often, and I can't read the rest. You're right, and that's true. A lot of people say that Spano's going to win anyway. What's the point? They always win, and but hopefully we could, educate people how important it is for them to come out and vote, and also, make them aware that having that attitude is exactly why we have the problem and what perpetuates the problem, right? So we cannot have that attitude. And really, what do you have to lose, right? Go and vote. I mean, you can't just give up. You can't just throw your hands up and say, oh well, nothing's going to happen. You have to at least do your part. And so I think it's about bringing awareness and bringing education, and that's what I hope to do here in Yonkers. And I hope to reach a wide variety of folks, or mixed group of people, young, old, of all colors, from all sections of Yonkers, where together we can learn and we can hold them accountable. We can follow along with what's happening, and they know that we're watching, right? And I've seen them make adjustments as a result of the fact that we are watching. And so slowly we're making some progress, but you're absolutely right. People need to come out and vote. That's been the main problem for a long time. People have just not been coming out to vote, right? People have been uninformed, misinformed, uneducated, not only about the candidates, who the candidates are, but also about, civics, period, right? Government, period. And you're right. Many people feel disenfranchised. They don't feel a part of it. And that's why when I asked some of the people at that senior event at the Castle Royale that day who you were voting for, they just said, no, I'm not voting. I don't really care. Right? They don't feel connected to it, right? Spanos, elected officials, they're up here. We're down here. We're trying to survive. We're just trying to make it. I'm trying to find me an apartment. I'm trying to, get money for my food. If they're giving me free food, great. That's as much as I know about them. That woman with the glasses and the chain. Yeah, this is how some people describe Tasha Diaz sometimes, right? Or, even some of the other officials, but usually Tasha Diaz, because they go to the food drive, but they don't really know who she is like that. A lot of times, the woman with the glasses and the chains, and she's with the rings, she's giving out the food and stuff. She's always in the community doing great things. Yeah. But little do they know that that's just, her exploiting them, right? Exploiting. And they don't have to go out and vote, because just signing the petitions is enough. If they can get that out of them, and that's great. And then they'll get their ballots, right? They'll go do the voting for them. I know for a fact that Tasha Diaz, her people were calling folks and asking for their permission to sign their names on the petition. So if they got permission over the phone, they would then sign their name on the petition. I know this for a fact. I know a guy that got called and asked. He told me that out of his own mouth. Yeah, I'm not gonna say who it was because I don't want to try to identify him. But he says, they called me and said, "Can I sign your name?" Right. Tasha Diaz. And so you can't do that. And people just say, okay, yeah, whatever. Okay, yeah. And right. And speaking of the petitions, I mean, look, and before I get up out of here, it's gonna be a long night. But this is something that I wanted to show also. You look at these petitions. We looked at a lot of petitions. They were strange. Some of them looked like they were written by the same individuals. The handwriting, the lettering, I circled some that seemed very similar. And so it looked like, someone just went and just signed people's names all the way down, right? Trying to purposely, this right here looks like it's purposely being written in a certain way. You can see the stop marks. And I'm no handwriting expert, but, I forged signatures back in my day. I'm being honest. I used to get my reports from school. I want my mom to see them. I used to forge her signature. I got pretty good with that, but that's as far as it went. I didn't want to get in trouble. I wonder what the voter turnout was. That tells a lot. Yeah, absolutely. And again, low voter turnout is not good. I think if people don't come out to vote, shows they are defeated. People are defeated, again, as Stark Kastic mentioned, disenfranchised, uninformed, uneducated, afraid. They don't want to come out. There were people out there, and having a guy like Tony Margie, let's be honest, he's a Spano supporter. He's shouting Spano in one of my videos. He's a big guy, and he's out there, and people know, and he's a DPW guy. So other DPW guys, I ain't gonna go out there, right? Screw that. I don't want no issue. You know what I'm saying? So that also is a problem, right? So the intimidation factor, people out there for a reason. Signs are being taken. People are being told that don't vote for Moranti. He doesn't support unions. And you have these lies, right? And so there's a lot of dirty stuff going on, and it's just tough. But again, I think the victory really, and I like to find the silver lining, is that more and more people are aware. More and more people are paying attention. More and more people are speaking out. People are reaching out to me. Thank you very much. I got like 3 or 4 people that reached out to me today alone. So thank you. I appreciate the emails. Everyone will always remain anonymous. Confidentiality is very important. But I will expose those fake emails. Okay. I do receive fake emails, individuals pretending to be sources with information that's just outlandish. Sometimes it's designed to create problems for me or other people. And so I put those out there just because I wanted to see it, and I exposed that. But true sources, genuine, honest people looking to provide information will always and have been anonymous and remained anonymous. And the reality is, I don't know who they are a lot of times, but their information checks out. And so I go with it, right? And if it doesn't, and you can tell when it's someone trying to, I've gotten to a point now where I kind of can tell where someone just giving me some BS to try to, cause some issues or whatever. And it's someone with real information, So, you can email me, politicwithfred@gmail.com. We keep our eyes open. We take pictures, take video, send it to me. We got to put it out there. We got to let them know we're watching. If you're going to remain in office, right? If you win and you're incumbent, whoever, we're going to be watching. We're going to be on you guys. So just so you know. So send me the information, politicwithfred@gmail.com. I hope to have more individuals come on as guests. If you're interested in coming on the show as a guest, you have something interesting that you think is something people should know about, we should have a discussion, a conversation about, let me know. Reach out to me. Again, politicwithfred@gmail.com. I want to have more people come on. I want more engagement from the community. I don't just want to be about putting out information on people, but also, I want to get the people of the city involved in civics. Hopefully this thing could grow. We can actually do in-person stuff, get people out, get people learning about the process, get people excited about the process. This is only the beginning. This is what I see. This is just the beginning. Again, I've committed myself to this, even at the expense of, my business, my wife's career, because, they've threatened her career. I mean, literally, with lies, and it's sad that there are individuals that are willing to, completely lie about an individual in order to hurt their career, their livelihood. People have kids. I get it's politics. I get you want to win the election. You want to keep yourself hurt. I get it. Maybe you don't like the fact that I'm making certain things aware, people wear certain things, right? But how far do you go, right? How far do you go? And do you not think that things like that, are return, that favors return? Karma is very real. I believe in it. And I believe in God. I have a strong faith in God. So I believe he gets us through anything, right? As long as we're attempting to do the right thing. We're not perfect here at Basement Politics, but we have good intentions, and we intend on doing the right thing as best as possible and informing the people of the truth as best as possible. And when I do get it wrong, I do correct myself. I am human. But pray for my wife. Hopefully she will have her job come past November 17th when they've threatened to fire her and offered us the Cobra insurance. I think I think it like beer, that Cobra beer, that 50-cent beer, or maybe it's $1 nowadays. Inflation is crazy, right? But that's what's going on here, just because I inform you folks of the truth. But I'm not the only one, so I'm not playing victim here. I knew what the consequences could be. And to all those that have gone through it, I support you. And it's time we start coming out. I would love to hear more from people that have been terminated for retaliatory reasons. I've had people come up to me and tell me about their situations, right? And so it's crazy how this goes on. It's very, gangsterish, mafia-ish, mentality. But, shout out to all you folks who have been participating, supporting. Thank you for supporting, watching Basic Politics. We'll tune in for the results. I'll be back on. It's going to be a while. We're not going to get anything official until tomorrow sometime, maybe, right? But for now, this is where we at. 61% to 36. I think we're going to remain there for the evening, maybe a little bit change, but not too much tomorrow. We'll see what happens, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. It's been an hour. Perfect timing. All right. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you supporting. Share the podcast. Shout out to all the new followers. And I don't mean, I always think that's weird. Like, you're not my follower. You're my friends. Shout out to all my new friends, those who support. Thank you for friending the page. Thank you for, supporting, man. It's big. And again, I don't make a penny doing this. I don't, so this is all just because I need to inform people, of what's happened. After I've gone through my situation, with the city and stuff and my battle, this stuff has to come out. It has to come out. We can no longer be quiet. And I decided that I was going to be the guy that was going to go and start to really speak out. And shout out to all those that are doing so as well. Shout out to the Yonkers Ledger. Make sure you support the Yonkers Ledger. They do an amazing job over there. They have great articles, so check them out. Take care, folks. Have a happy tomorrow, Wednesday. I don't even know what day. I think tomorrow's Wednesday. Yeah. Happy Wednesday, folks. Tuesday, Election Tuesday. Tired.
I was raised in housing. I don't think you were.
But Mr. Rumo lied to me, and I don't vote for a person that lied to me. Thank you very much.
I want to end this quick because I'm greedy and I want some of the butter chicken. So thank you.
Freddie wins. Fatality.
Thank you for watching Basement Politics with my husband, Freddie Vasquez.
So long, folks. Have a beautiful night. Peace out.
You're watching Basement Politics with my dad, Freddie Vasquez.